basically, I'm going to tell you what really happened. So, what really happened in Joseph Spell's work. What it ain't, it's your girl Umbrella, and I am back with another video. Okay, before we get started, make sure that you click the links in the description box to support my businesses, Empress Solution and Keep Going Don't Stop. Make sure you support my businesses. The links will be in the description box. Get your natural hair care from Empress Solutions. I don't know if y'all can tell, but my hair is growing already since I cut it. And I've only been using Empress Solutions products, from the shampoo to the conditioner to the hair oil to the hair scrub to what else is there? Yeah, I've been using all the products, to the gel. Yes, the gel. I've been using all of those products to achieve popping curls and definition this whole season long. So if you want natural hair care, make sure that you click the link below. If you want to get shirts made by me, designed by me, then make sure that you click the link below as well to get some shirts. Now that we are done with that whole spiel, we're going to get into a biopic series, and I'm going to be talking about the movie Marshall, featuring the wonderful Chadwick Boseman and Kate Hudson, as well as other stars in this phenomenal movie. I believe this movie came out in 2017. I don't know why I didn't do this movie like months ago or even last year, because unfortunately Chadwick Boseman passed away, and it just really made me think about Marshall, because that was like my favorite movie of all time that he was the lead actor in. That is my favorite movie from him. I did see the Black Panther recently, and he also was very good. Every role that he did was very good. I think the first role that I saw him do was 42, where he played Jackie Robinson. That movie was really good too, so I might be doing that biopic as well. Let me know if you want me to do 42 as a biopic series, and Get Up, because he did play James Brown. So let me know if you want to see that. I will do videos, 2 of those videos. I think that's a good idea. As you know, if you've seen Marshall, then you know that Chadwick Boseman was playing Marshall, which is Thurgood Marshall. And fun fact for me, my high school was called Thurgood Marshall Academy. So in Washington, D.C. in Southeast, you know what I'm saying? So that was my high school that I graduated from, and it was a very rigorous charter college prep school. So it was very, tough. It was a lot of work, and I enjoyed, going there. I enjoyed everything about it. So yeah, moving forward, so I have like a little connection to Thurgood Marshall in general. So if you're ready, let's get into this video. First, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about Thurgood Marshall before we get into the actual biopic movie discussion. So first, I'm just going to peep you to some of the facts about Thurgood Marshall that you may or may have not known. I think it's interesting that his mother was a school teacher. So if you don't know, that he did do the famous case, the Brown versus Board of Education, which initially ended segregation in public schools, segregated whites and blacks within the 1950s and the 60s. So that court case definitely helps desegregate public schools. So I think it's interesting that his mother was actually a school teacher, so he always had like a passion for learning. And I do think it's interesting that a lot of schools are named after him too, because it just brings everything full circle, with his mom being a teacher and just him having a passion for school and a passion for learning at such an early age. He did go to 3 colleges. The first one he went to was he actually applied for the University of Maryland, but they denied him because he was black. So he went to the University of Pennsylvania and he graduated from there in 1930. Then he went to Howard and graduated from there in 1933, top of his class. After he did graduate from Howard, he started working for the NAACP. Okay, so as we all know, the NAACP is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So that's the organization that he worked for after he graduated from college. He started working from there, and he actually did 32 cases. Out of the 32 cases, he won 29 of those. So that's phenomenal. Like, you know, he was doing his thing. And a part of his NAACP employment, he was actually doing a defense fund, which primarily focused on people that needed help with cases that were affecting and changing the society. Within the 32 cases that he did do, they involved, you know, a lot of racially motivated, you know, cases, like including rape, murder, black people not being able to vote, black people not being able to apply for school and such which. So one of the cases that we're going to talk about is the case from the biopic, which is the case of, we're going to be talking about the case directly from the biopic, which was Eleanor Strubling versus Joseph Spell. So I'm just basically going to tell you guys, like, that, you know, what's going on. So in the movie, you know, Thurgood, he meets this, you know, he meets his case, and he's going from state to state, you know, helping people. And with this case in particular, the case was about rape. Joseph Spell was accused of raping Eleanor Strubling, which was his boss. He was her chauffeur. You know, she lived in a big house, you know what I'm saying? So he was accused of raping her and throwing her off of a bridge. She said, in fact, that he raped her 4 times. He kidnapped her, and made her write a ransom note for $5,000 and threw her off of the bridge. So that's what she alleged that he did. He did all of those things, in her opinion. So, you know, with the trial proceedings, the thing that really took the cake with this case is that she didn't have a lot of evidence that nailed him in the coffin with the rape. So, you know, in the movie you can see that as well, that a lot of stuff wasn't adding up. She said something about him raping her, and then she thought she was pregnant, and then she thought she heard her husband come in the door or something, and he drove away, and he drove her in a car and kidnapped her and all this other stuff. So basically, I'm going to tell you what really happened. What really happened, in Joseph Spell's words, were, and this is kind of shocking, because I was shocked when I read this. I was like, what? He did all that? Like, he bold. Like, oh, okay. So apparently, actually, in the movie, this wasn't what happened. So Joseph Spell and his wife, in real life, Joseph Spell and his wife was living in the attic of Eleanor Strubling. So that means that the wife probably worked for Eleanor as well. So they lived in the attic of the big mansion or whatever. Joseph Spell was the chauffeur. So, you know, he said that he came to her room and he asked to borrow some money. And that's what happened in the movie as well. And then he said that he saw her in a silk robe. This is what happened in real life. He said he saw her in a silk robe and he asked her, could they have an affair? What? What? He asked her, could they have an affair? What? You bold, Joseph. You're bold. Oh my God. And your wife live in the attic? Oh my God. So apparently, yes, he asked her could they have an affair, and she agreed to it. That's what he's saying. He said that she agreed to it as long as they kept it a secret. So she didn't want to do it in her bedroom, because she didn't want her husband to find out. So they went downstairs to the car and they had sex. They had sex a couple times. He cleaned up or whatever, and he asked her could they like drive away or something, and she said yes. So they went for a drive, and then she started freaking out because she thought she was pregnant, because he probably hit it out the park. Let's just be real, you know what I'm saying? If y'all had sex twice or whatever the case may be, don't you think you're pregnant because you let him hit it out the park. That's what happened. So so basically he hit it out the park, and she started freaking out thinking that she was pregnant. So she jumped out the car, and he didn't want to, like, I guess he was trying to grab her or whatever, and she just jumped off the damn bridge. So that's really what happened. Joseph Spell says, and I quote, most black men in the South were lynched for charges of rape. They never even made it to trial. What I also didn't think about that wasn't in a biopic was the trial and how it affected like other black people. So during this trial, it was such a sensation because it involved a ransom note, it involved sex, it involved, you know, married folk, it involved whites and blacks. So it was a lot of things involved in this case that made it like a sensation. So because it was so sensational, and because people of course thought that he did rape her, like, it made it bad for people that had a job, you know, for black people that had jobs working as servants and maids and chauffeurs, because like white people in the city didn't want to hire any more black people because they would fear that their wife would get raped or whatever the case may be. So the case, depending on the case's outcome, it really depended on the lives of a lot of black people that were living in the area and probably across America. Because in the South, like he said, a lot of men would just get lynched if there was even a talk of some white lady getting raped. And I believe around that same time, Emmett Till had just got killed. And if you remember that story, then you know that that was the little boy that, you know, was said to accused of whistling at a white woman, and he was attacked in his home, and he was murdered and thrown into the river in Mississippi. And you know, there's just a lot of terror with that, with even being involved in something like that, or a rumor, because that's basically what it was. As we know, like throughout the movie, you know, the case proceeds and things, but I really wanted to talk about this movie too, because I noticed how intelligent Thurgood Marshall was, and how good, you know, Chadwick played him, and how he was very perseverant. Like, a lot of things happened in his life that could have stopped him, could have deterred him from moving forward, and he still found a way to keep going. He still kept it pushing, really. Something that bothered me in the movie was that there was a lot of systematic racism within the courtroom, and you know, they were actually stopping Thurgood for standing up for Joseph Spell, and he was his lawyer. So I guess they was trying to make it seem like it was biased because he was black and he was representing a black man. So they were trying to like do anything they could to get Thurgood Marshall to not speak. And a lot of the trial ended with the other lawyer, I forgot what his name is, but a lot of the trial ended because the other lawyer was, you know, handling the proceeding and speaking. And I think, and it made me angry too, because the lawyer that was working with Chadwick, or the lawyer that was working with Thurgood Marshall, he didn't know what he was doing. Like, he never worked a criminal case before, so he was very much so inexperienced. So they were under so much pressure to win that I felt like Thurgood Marshall was feeding the lawyer a lot of what to say. And you could see that in the movie. Like, the lawyer would look back at Chadwick like he was, or I keep saying Chadwick, he would look back at Thurgood like he was trying to, like, see what to say. He didn't know what to say. And that blew me, because it's like, you know, Thurgood Marshall don't need nobody to speak for him. Like, he could speak for himself. And, you know, it just makes it look like, even though they're on the same team, I know, but it just makes him look like, it doesn't represent him well to see someone else, like, speak for him, basically. And especially, you could see that with the closing argument, because it was so good, like how he emptied the ink out of the pen. And, you know, you could definitely tell when they were sitting and they were, like, talking about the closing argument, before the closing argument, and he was telling him what to say. Like, that really irritated me, because he said what he said word for word, and it was just like, you don't even know what to say. Like, you don't even have, like, confidence. And I was talking to my sister about this today. Like, to me, I feel like in order to be a good lawyer, you have to not only know the law, but you also have to have confidence. So you have to have confidence. You have to be dramatic. You have to be able to set a scene and set a stage. You have to be very persuasive in order to win your cases. And I feel like if you don't have confidence, then it's going to be very hard for you to, like, speak in front of people and project your voice. And in this movie, you can see how important that is, and how Thurgood Marshall was incredible at doing that. And to me, that's how he won a lot of his cases, because he had a lot of confidence, and he was smooth, and he knew what he was talking about as far as the law, and as far as, you know, personal experience from being black. So he has that extra, like, you know, I know what I'm talking about, like, type of confidence. And I felt like the lawyer that was working with Marshall did not. So it was hard for him to, like, speak in front of people, and, you know, it was just kind of annoying to me. It was kind of annoying. Yeah, overall, most of the things that were in the movie Marshall did actually happen. I thought this video was very important, too, to talk about, you know, rape during the 1940s, because, you know, not only was, you know, rape a topic of discussion, but, you know, if you have seen some of my Hollywood control videos, then you know that, you know, there was a thin line between rape. Like, a lot of men didn't, you know, blamed the woman, basically, and made it seem like she was doing something wrong, or she enticed the rape, or whatever the case may be. But in this case, you know, a lot of rape allegations were racially motivated. And a lot of women, you know, back then, a lot of white women wanted black men, you know, sexually, and they would lie. And a lot of black men ended up getting killed because of it. And I thought that this was a very important video, as well as, you know, educational too, just to show you guys that, you know, lying on someone and saying that he raped you is not okay. It's never okay to try to do that, you know, especially if you're, you know, doing something that's wrong. You know, you're cheating on your husband. If you're having issues with your husband, leave your husband, you know what I'm saying? And vice versa. Like, if you're having problems with your man, just leave him. Don't cheat on him, because a lot of problems happen after that as a resort to the cheating in the first place. A lot of these allegations lead to, you know, black men being killed and or, you know, sentenced to death in jail. And that's what would happen back in the day. I'm glad that it didn't happen to Joseph Spell. After he did get acquitted, he went to move back with his mother, who was sick. So I am glad that he did survive. And I do want to say rest in peace to those men who were accused of raping a white woman and didn't do it, and was either killed or, you know, sentenced to death, or just in life in prison. Rest in peace to those, you know, innocent souls. And I hope that you guys like this video. Let me know in the comments how you feeling about the movie Marshall. Did you like it? What's your favorite Chadwick Boseman movie? This is my favorite movie. I'm glad to be back with this biopic. There's going to be another one coming soon. Make sure you stay tuned. It's Ombre Alert. Okay? Make sure you like, comment below, and subscribe. Support my businesses, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!